Dylan Sen. I am a junior here at TCNJ. I'm a 21-year-old heterosexual cis male. My parents are from India, so I'm Indian, and I am a Hindu.
My name is Ray Diao. I'm Asian. I am a male, and I guess heterosexual.
My name is Gabriella Cohen, and I am a cisgendered female, and I'm a Moroccan Israeli Jew.
My name is Gina Kapoor, and I am a female. I am Indian, say that I am more of a spiritualist, and my sexuality is fluid. I don't really, commit to one thing. I consider myself bisexual for easier categorization, but it varies.
My name is Justin Gale, and I am a cisgender African-American male.
Tan, I'm an Asian American, heterosexual, cisgender, Catholic male.
Dale Uman, I'm a cisgender, heterosexual Indian male, identify as agnostic.
Gender, there are a lot of stereotypes that are seen, but I feel like more so than not, there are also, strong female characters that have been emerging in the media. So I feel like, that stereotype, more than my race, has been kind of breaking the barrier.
Social media and I guess like entertainment. Like you tend to think of Asians as the funny little dude who's just really good at math, and like he does like really tacky and corny stuff all the time. Like maybe they'll often have like an accent or whatever. That's like the first thing that kind of pops into my head anyways.
In the media, cisgender men are typically portrayed as both positive and negative in media such as like the news or television shows, but more specifically African-American men in news are often portrayed as part of like the lower class, but in television and movies they seem more cultured, which is an interesting parallel.
I would say specifically for the women, there's reality shows and TV shows that make them seem like they're all crazy and like angry black women, similar to Orange is the New Black, and also like the housewife shows on like BET and VH1, showing that there's always drama, there's always like a fight, and they can be classy in like a public setting. So
They're not really portrayed in the media. It's like really hard to find like a character who's like a Middle Eastern Jew anywhere in anything.
As far as my race goes, I'm Indian, so the fresh off the boat stereotype, the thick accent stereotype, the doctor, stereotype, or owning 7-Eleven, Dunkin' Donuts stereotype. That's usually kind of what I see in the media, and I very rarely see any other kind of portrayal. Portrayal.
Yeah.
But Indian people, at least currently in most shows and stuff, it seems to be like a lot of, definitely in comedies, a lot of the jokes are revolved around the character being Indian. What I sort of take issue with is the fact that it always has to be mentioned and always needs to be a focal point of the character.
I do feel like Indians have been considered a minority, and there's just a sense of generalization for a while. And so I guess yes would be the answer to my question, but I don't necessarily feel it.
I actually don't, because as an Indian person, especially in the sciences, I think the time of us being minorities has passed a long time ago, and I was raised in America, so I understand the culture, and I feel assimilated enough with the culture that I don't really, I'm never made aware that I'm a minority, and I never really have.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like, how many Asian kids do you see at TCNJ? And like the ones that you do see don't really poke their heads out a lot.
I do feel like a minority here. Even though there's a Jewish presence on campus, there's not nearly as much as there was in my hometown, which is super Jewish. And there's a very small Middle Eastern population. I actually only know 2 other Middle Eastern people, and they're both Muslim, so like the Jewish Middle Eastern thing isn't very common here. So on campus, I've been called ethnic a couple of times, but I think my favorite example of racism is when people ask me if I speak Israeli, which isn't a language.
I wouldn't say it's been flat out racist or, sexist in the sense of actually meaning it. I've seen a lot of joking around about it, like a bunch of my friends have made Jew jokes and Indian jokes and even black jokes and obviously jokes based off of gender. We're very progressive in the sense that if someone were to be flat out racist or sexist, I feel like we just jump down their throats. It's not welcome on our campus. I've had a friend who was sexist in a setting, and the rest of my friends kind of jumped down his throat, and we're like, "That's not okay. You can't say stuff like that."
So experience would be it was right after Donald Trump got elected. Actually, I was walking back from Dunkin' Donuts, and this white pickup truck kind of just slammed on the brakes 200 feet ahead of me, and then they full reversed, and then these 3 dudes were they just opened up the windows. They were just saying oh, chink, get out, this is our country, stop ruining our economy and things like that.
I'd say that TCNJ on the whole is a pretty progressive school, and it, at least in my experience, and while it is pretty predominantly white, I think that there's a pretty good degree of social consciousness within the bulk of the student body. I mean, it doesn't really go beyond, with my friends, I'll make racial jokes at them and they'll make racial jokes back. Beyond that, I haven't seen a tremendous amount but that's from there are a few fringe people here and there that are a little bit more crass about stuff like that, but I don't think ever there's really purposefully foul intentions, at least racially speaking.
At TCNJ, I really don't practice my Jamaican culture as often. Mostly when I do go homes on some weekends or twice a month, I'll have family dinners and there's family get-togethers when we go to church or just practice our cultural traditions while at home or all together.
So I try to go to Chabad as much as I can to keep in touch with my Jewish identity. It gives me a sense of home away from home, having a Jewish community and being able to be as spiritual as I want to be. But there isn't really any Middle Eastern organization on campus except for the Middle Eastern Society, which isn't really what I want to be getting out of it.
I personally wasn't raised super traditional as an Indian, growing up in an Indian family, but I know that a lot of Indians on campus like to go sometimes to traditional events such as Garba, for example, or Diwali night.
As a person of Catholic faith, I have visited TCNJ's church about 3 or 4 times my 4 years here, but when I would go home and on breaks, I would go to church with my family every weekend. So traditionally, I wouldn't practice it as much on my own at school as I would at home with my family. So I'm a graphic design major, and it is definitely a major dominated by females. There are about 4 or 5 males, including myself in my senior class, and about 15 females. I'm not sure why this is. From an outsider's perspective, I would say people assume that design is more aesthetic based and that it's more appealing to females, but it's more about problem solving. So I don't really think that there's a strict gender constraint on the major. It's just what is more appealing to others, more like.
Finance major, I'd say that it's mainly male dominated, probably about 80% male, 20% female, and I think it's this way just because I feel like business as a field, as a whole, has typically been male dominated, since like forever, I feel like.
Part of it is, I guess, the previous generations that sort of shaped the society, right? So you grow up and all the Wall Street yuppies are men and their secretaries are women. And that's how it was for decades. And so I think that a lot of people have been sort of subconsciously shaped into thinking that I'm a girl, so I'm predisposed to a career in arts and communications and stuff. And I'm a male, so I might have more I should be looking at something like a stockbroker or like a day trader or a hedge fund manager.
I feel like a lot more Asians and Indians are almost sort of pressured to become doctors by their families. I know that I'm in a cross-cultural management class, and we've been talking a lot about, how your parent, if you're an Indian, your parents, more than not, if you're like from India, they will set your career goals for you. So I know that has, in some cases, got to be the case. In other cases, I guess, a lot of strong influences of doctors are portrayed as already Indian or already Asian. So as a child or as you grow up, you see, I want to be a doctor because you see a role model that kind of you relate to.